Okay, thank you so much for joining us on Camnet Lunchtime Cafe, right at exactly 13 hours. And we are here to talk about everything soccer. My name is Joe Smarter, and of course, we are live on Camnet TV Zambia Facebook page and also on DSTV and GoTV. Now, my guest this afternoon, seated on my far left, is veteran soccer enthusiast and freelance journalist, Mr. Nkweto Tembwe, who joins us, seated on my far left. Good afternoon, sir, and welcome.
Well, great to meet you here again, Joe. I love your enthusiasm.
Thank you,
about what you do.
Thank you, sir.
This is what we need in this profession of journalism. Yeah, we need people that have the passion. We need people that know who to ask. And we need people that also know that there's need for a variety of ideas. You know, not every day asking smart. We need a diversity of ideas, and that is why at times I disappoint you when you call me, because I'll be saying, no, I was there last week. Let somebody else go there. But I must say it's great to be at Camnet TV. Great TV, so many people that follow it, and we love the objectivity that is exuded on this channel. So, well, I'm very happy to be here and to still meet Bosimat.
Thank you very much, and thank you for those kind words. Now, seated on my, in the middle of us here, on my immediate left, obviously, it's Mr. Mumbo Lombe, who is a concerned citizen. And like I said, we are discussing Zambian soccer from the perspective of a journalist and from the perspective of a concerned citizen. Now, gentlemen, let me welcome you to this particular program collective. Let me start with you, Mr. Tembwe. Last week, there was supposed to, FAZ was supposed to have an annual general conference or an annual general meeting. However, we saw citizens in the name of Damiano Mutale and veteran journalist and sports enthusiast as well, Mavuto Piri, going to court and vowing to sleep at the venue.
House.
Yes, and the next day we didn't see the AGM taking place. You are familiar with this story. Let me find out, when such was happening, what was going through your mind and what did you get from there?
All right. You know, Smart, I'll tell you something that we have a problem in our country at times where we get a tip of the iceberg, and then people want to make decisions. First of all, we should put it in mind that this case is in court, and we don't want to commit contempt of court.
Yes, sir.
However, I think allow me to run through very briefly what is causing the current emotions around Zambian football.
Please, sir.
Okay.
Please.
I'll go back to 2010. 2010, we had a game at Nkoloma Stadium.
Okay.
Mumbo will remember. This was against not Costa Rica.
Costa Rica.
This new island.
Comoros.
It was against Comoros.
Okay.
Okay. Let's start from there before we get to last Saturday.
Let's go to Genesis.
Yeah. So we had a game. Okay, because a lot of people say there are camps, there's this and that, but it is important to know where all these things started from.
Okay.
It started from where, but let me pick it up from 2010. There's a game against Comoros. Whether in Dubai, grounds or flights. Okay? And the referee for that game, who was coming from West Africa.
No, Djibouti.
Djibouti, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Was passing through Dubai. And because there was a problem in Dubai, what happened? The flight could not come to Zambia. And that game could not take place. This is 2010, eh?
2010.
14 years ago. The game does not take place. And there's always some tension in football. Some people picked it up and said, this FAZ should resign.
Okay.
Because they failed to organize a game. You get it? It started, brought tension here and there. no vote of no confidence. People went round to collect signatures to bring down the current, the regime which was current then.
Okay.
They went round, collected signatures, okay, trying to get to a threshold. But when these signatures were looked at, we found that medical doctors, team doctors, had signed. Okay. Vakatore Lava Bola had signed. It couldn't work.
Okay.
Then the tension continued until in November, I think 24th or 25th of November. We had a meeting at Intercontinental Hotel. At this meeting, you know me, I rarely want to mention names. And I will not delve into mentioning names.
Okay.
But at this meeting, we saw a parallel phase executive emerging. This meeting was illegal in as far as football is concerned. What was illegal about it? It was not called by the General Secretary of the Football Association of Zambia. At that time, the late GK, George Mwilaka Sengen, he did not call that meeting. That meeting partially was even beamed on ZNBC TV. Okay? And at this meeting, a new executive was formed. Remember, there's already an executive, but there's another one comes up.
Okay.
There was a reason for Zambia to be scared of being banned. That is 2010. The following day, there was another meeting, which was called by the General Secretary. This meeting was at Zambezi Source in Kabwe.
Okay.
At this meeting, the FIFA representative came and spoke. I interviewed him.
Okay, I want to request for those images.
Oh, okay, yeah.
What's the white man's name?
Primo Covaro.
Okay, my producers have those images. I want them to put
So
them on the
Mr.
screen.
Primo Covaro came, attended that meeting, and he said something very important. He said, the reason we could not go to Lusaka as FIFA is that that meeting was not called by FAS.
Okay.
But we came to Kabwe because this meeting was called by FAS. You get it? The next thing he said was, but we are in recognition of the fact that the group that met in Lusaka has some issues to speak. But all those issues can only be tabled.
Okay, so that's here.
Yeah, that's Mr. Primo Covaro.
The FIFA representative.
Yeah, this was his second time coming now. This is at Kabwe now. Kabwe Mulungushi Rock of Authority. Yeah, that's Mr. Primo Covaro. So he said the people in Lusaka,
with other delegates.
He came along.
Okay, he came along. But there were delegates from
National Sports Council.
Okay.
People from the ministry, and you know, FIFA for such things they will just send one person.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. You see. So at this meeting, he said the people in Lusaka also have something to say. That you meet and discuss. We had people going to Zurich. They came back. FIFA still said, "You sit down," and ordered, so to speak, the Kalu regime to put a vote of no confidence. There are pictures there. There were a lot of emotions. I'm sure our producer can pick some of those meetings. But at this meeting, Joe, we saw again people saying parallel league, and later on culminated into a parallel league. People opened a league. They called it NFL, National Football League. Meantime, the league,
that was in 2010.
That is in 2010. Okay, so the tensions have been simmering. Okay, so when I saw last week that thing not happening, the meeting, I went back to what I've said and then read the letter from Musa. Musa have written a letter to the Football Association of Zambia, citing some of the things I've said here, that Zambian football needs to heal. And we need to put this to add this to our what? To our agenda at the annual general meeting, so that we talk about it. There are a lot of brains in Zambian football that have been sidelined. There, that's the man in the middle there is Mr. Happy Munkondia. Okay. Yeah, great guy, great football administrator. At this meeting, there was tension. Look at that. This is Mulungushi Rock of Authority, the vote of no confidence. Okay, it was tabled Okay, despite the regime, they wouldn't have wanted to table it. But of course, there were technicalities, because when it was being tabled, the same people that had written, that had proposed, had withdrawn it.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but all in all, what I'm saying as matter is these things have been going on, and they can only end when you meet around the table. And that is what the Musa later wanted. They said, can we sit down and heal so that Zambian football can go forward?
Okay, so Mr. Tembo, we'll be going into detail with what Musa wrote, because me and my producers monitored your Facebook page, and we found that you shared this as well, the Musa write-up. Then also, we have a response.
Okay.
I'm sure you're aware of the response from, a FAS EXCO committee member. Muchinga Provincial EXCO member Collins Mukwala fires back at FC Musa. It's about to get interesting. We'll be getting into that. He has responded. But let me come to Mr. Lombe. Mr. Lombe, there has been a concern. You are wearing a Zambia replica jersey here, and there has been a concern regarding the sales. How have been the sales, according to you, as a concerned citizen?
Well, thank you for hosting me. To start with, thank you for hosting me. It's my debut appearance on Camnet, and I hope I'll make another appearance.
You do a hat trick.
Yes. Well, talking about sales, I think maybe we need to get to the genesis of how this story started. One of the reasons when the copper concept was introduced was that the current FAS executive saw it in their wisdom that we should come up with a program that can make FAS more financially sustainable.
Okay.
Is it a good thing? Of course, we need to. We can only get to know if it's a good thing or a bad thing with the support of numbers. So the copper sales, the copper kit rather, has been selling for more than 5 years.
For more than 5 years.
For more than 5 years.
At Football House.
At Football House.
Okay.
So the most fair thing to do.
So
is
that's what we have on the screen.
Yes, is to see how the sales have been. So in 2019, they managed to record the 374,000 sales. In 2020, there was a slight increase. In 2021, they sold 2,151,000 in copper sales.
Okay.
2022, 2.7. And in 2023, they sold 5,840. Now, when you look at those numbers, you need to put them into context.
Okay.
In year one, they sold less than 2,500 jerseys. In the unit sales, they sold less than 2,500. You've seen some slight increase in the highest, which is year 2023. Remember, the price per unit increased from, I think along the way, midway, the price increased from 350 to 600.
Okay.
Now, when you divide that number, 5.8 divided by 600, or maybe average cost per unit, let's put it at 500, you realize that less than 7,000 jerseys were sold. Not more than 7, not more than 8,000. Now, when you look at the constituents, football family is very big. You'd find that at the best of at the best of heroes can host.
Heroes can go up to 50,000.
Yeah, heroes can go up to 50,000.
Yeah.
Ndola can go up to 42,000. We've been having stadiums for. Now you can imagine if we are struggling. We've never sold 8,000 plus in a year. We've even sold as low as 2,000. When you compare with other teams, be it Zanaco, be it Zesco, be it NAPSA, they've been selling more than 5,000 in a season. That clearly tells us, that clearly tells us to say, the concept has not worked. Now, I would want the producer to show us how much we've been spending in terms of, the kit expenses. So in the last 5 years,
so we go to the first summary financial performance.
No. They're the same copper sales that we were looking at.
We go back to
we go back to the same
replica. Okay.
Yes. So you realize to say we've been incurring, like in the first year, we incurred 3 million in the kit expenses. The following year we incurred 1.3. So when you look at the summation, In the last 5 years, kit expenses, we've incurred 21.5, and the sales have been standing at 11.7. Now, there we are making an assumption that FAS is not incurring costs in terms of distribution. FAS is not incurring overtime in terms of the officers who may have to stay over the weekend.
Okay.
The FAS is not incurring any insurance or any other related costs that come with the selling of such stock. So when you look at in terms of viability, with the numbers, these are audited numbers. It's not my opinion.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Mumbo,
Yes.
where are you getting these numbers
From FAS financial statements, audited numbers, not my opinion. So in the last 5 years, in summary, the sales from replica are standing at 11.7. Kit expenses, we've spent 21. So we spent far much more on these kit expenses than we are getting.
As an accountant, qualified accountant, is that a good financial report?
No, definitely. It does not, in whatever state, whether you are sober or not sober, the numbers don't look good.
Mr. Tembwe, let me come to you, sir. Musa has issued a statement. You equally shared that statement, which goes to underscore that you support that particular statement. But let me ask you. Let's look at some of the points that Musa has raised. Number one, there are 8-point summary of the key points. Number one, they're saying Musa is not part of the High Court order. Musa recognizes the current FAS executive led by Ndanga Andrew Kamanga. I want to... Okay. Musa is saying they are not part of the High Court order. You, before we started, you clearly indicated to me and my producers that you are not from any camp. You are a Zambian.
I'm from a camp of truth.
A camp of truth,
yes.
Yes. Speak to that, sir.
Yeah, you see, first of all, we need to stop lying to ourselves.
Okay.
We need to stop lying to ourselves. Mumbo has just given you financial statements, sir. Okay. Audited. And these financials are from the FAS books. He didn't create them as he was coming. They're from the FAS books. Okay? But out there, people are saying Zambian football is getting better. Okay? I'm not an accountant, but I'm a Zambian.
Is that worrying to you, Mr.
It is worrying because football is about money. And remember, we have a regime that rose to power on a pedestal of making FAS financially independent. Ukusumuna FAS kuli GRZ. That's what they were saying. Because they had corporate experience. They had corporate contacts. They told us that people are waiting for this regime to leave. When we go in, sponsors will be coming.
Why are we not seeing sponsors at FAS?
Well, I left sponsors, and those sponsors we left are still there. I don't know why the issue is simple. The issue is simple. A sponsor is not a charitable organization. And that is why, by the way, apart from just being a soccer analyst, I'm a PR practitioner. In PR, the new term is not corporate social responsibility. It is corporate social investment. The reason sponsors are not going into football is simple. It's not attractive. They don't think it's an investment worth going through. You remember, this job. FAS came and talked about the Chipolo Polo bonds. The Chipolo Polo bond was meant to raise $10 million US. How much has been raised from them? I have asked a few people who are part of that committee. They have not even sat to talk about the Chipolo Polo bonds. Okay, so when I hear that even the project that has started is not making money, what does that mean? It means FAS will continuously be depending on GRZ. And when GRZ is sending money to FAS, they also want to know how it's working. And when they raise a flag, they are the ones that gave you the money. Don't rush to say third-party interference. Don't raise.
Now that brings me, Mr. Tembwe, seeing how passionately you talk about soccer, that brings me to the issue of the Drug Enforcement Commission calling the Secretary General for a football house and also the first president himself being summoned at DEC offices. What picture is this portraying out there? First of all, to the footballing community around Zambia, but also to the international community out there. And how did this sit with you when you heard about that particular development?
This is a case that again is going to court. I think that's after they were arrested and released. I think they said it's a case going to court. We have to be very careful. Okay. But allow me to tell you what the previous regime was doing over a similar case. When we were going, for example, to the last AFCON that I attended in a BBN, Equatorial Guinea, Zambian footballers and everybody believed, even you soccer fans were saying, we hired people. We had Nshima in a BBN. We had Fisashi, Isabili, dry fish, chapanswa, all cooked by Zambians. If you go to Faz, there's no chef at Faz. But the late GK and Karusha Bwadia, the former president, said, get somebody from government. This money is coming from JRZ. So if somebody is going to cook for Chipolopolo, let's have somebody who can easily be disciplined, should they even do something wrong. Where did we go? We wrote a letter to the Zambia Army. And the Zambia Army provided, I think, 2 chefs. And we went with them to Equatorial Guinea. In terms of security, we carried a policeman, a serving policeman. Mr. Sirwanda, a senior guy, I think he's higher than just above a sergeant, I think. So this is the guy we carried. And how did we pay him? We paid him through Faz money. And he was not on the list we sent to JRZ to say, we are going with these people. So I'm just telling you how we were doing it. The current
a similar case
in a similar case. So we carried Wasirwamba. He was paid from Faz money.
Not from JRZ.
Not from JRZ. We carried the... Now, if you look at these 2 people, what is so special about carrying a serving person in the army and a serving person in Zambia police? They have something to fear. If they do something wrong, they can easily be disciplined. But if you go and pick some Eastern Mayumboya.
Can I just add my thought? In addition to what Mr. Tembo has said, the reason why the practice, and I'm using the term the practice, why football association or any other sports association prefer to get people from government, the other reason, it's the issue of the money. It's the issue of the money. One of the things that you need to realize is that, one, it is cheaper to get somebody from government. That's why football association or any other sports discipline prefer to leverage on the human capital from government. That is point number 1. Because that person, he will still be earning a salary where he's coming from. And when you give him any other allowance, he may not be, you don't have to spend so much. Then secondly, there's also an issue of the rate. When you are getting, for instance, a medical doctor from government circles, what are you doing? You are getting that person, Dr. X, who's coming on this grade. Even when you are the issue of calculating allowances, whether you are being whether the allowances are being put by GRZ or being put by FAS, there's a grade to say, okay, the Zambia Army chef is at this grade, the Zambia Army, the doctor from UTH is at this grade. So it's even easy for accountability purposes. Because I'm just wondering, when you get somebody from outside and you're giving them even the DSA rate, what rate are you going to use? Are you going to use that of a PS or that of a driver?
Oh, so it's complicated there then.
Yes, there is also that complication. Unless maybe there's a decision that has been made to use a flat rate, but oftentimes the practice is to go by somebody's grade. You get it.
In fact, just to add on what Mumbo is saying, I wish I had thought of it. I would have come with a lot of copies. Each person we carried, we were when I was at first, we were writing to the IG, to the Zambia Army Commander, to the CEO of, to the PS maybe, Minister of Health, because we want to carry Dr. Kabungo. And like Mumbo says, when you carry people who are already in these institutions, it becomes very easy to administer, because you say, oh, guys, don't carry Smart. Smarter is in his GRZ 8. I think carrying Kweto, who will be cheaper because it's in GRZ 10.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that was our the thinking of I found at FAS when I was there.
And just further, the issue of when you get money from government or any other institution, you have to account for it. And when you're accounting for it, it can happen that we imagine you're on a trip with FAS or anyone. Money might be given to you, then you decide not to show up. You get it?
Oh, okay.
So you'd find that if somebody is working in the GRZ space or quasi-government, you find that even issues like recoverability is much easier. And after the trip, somebody has to make an activity report, and they report. That's how you close the issue. Now, allow me to talk about the structures and the practice that we've always had at FAS. We've got the elected FAS members, you see? Those are FAS officials, agreed.
Okay.
In addition, we also have employees of FAS. Now, what I'm trying to explain here is the order of picking. You need to first, okay, who's traveling, delegation leader, advance party, you pick from the executive.
Okay.
Let us imagine those are busy. They after all, FAS is part-time. The second tier is what? The FAS employees. You've got the PR, the person heading communication, competition, media officer, finance manager, marketing manager. There are a lot of people at FAS that you can also say they will be on this trip. Further than that, you can now go to say we've got standing committees. Now, I want to explain how I understand the standing committees. Okay. Standing committees, they are more like ad hoc, in the sense like, for instance, you've got a game on the Copper Belt, you can send a delegation from the FAS Publicity Committee. I think it's called Publicity Committee, right?
Yes,
when those people go to the Copper Belt, they'll go to Radio Chengelo, they'll go to this TV station, they'll promote the game. Ticket sales are there, price is this, they'll promote complimentary tickets, that kind of a thing. When that game is over, they more like cease, because it's more like a project or an ad hoc.
Oh, so
it's a task.
It's a task. When the game is over, it also ends.
So you cannot find a person like, for instance, from the publicity committee, he goes to maybe to Chilabombwe to just go and introduce himself at the gate to say, I'm a FAS official, allow me in. Or a medical doctor. No.
It doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work like that. That's why that even when there are these issues of trips, either the executive committee or the GS would decide to say, okay, for this trip, we've seen it fit to assign this person from this standing committee. So even when you're picking somebody from what do you call it, from the standing committee, I mean it should be something that you can explain to say, this is the first tier, they were not there, the second tier were not there, and this. There's also a time when you need special unique skills. For instance, you are traveling to a Spanish-speaking country. You can solicit or look around for a person with what? A person who speaks Spanish. That person will go in as a part of FAS, but it's for a specific task. When that trip is over, he ceases to be. You can re-engage
that person cannot say I'm a
FAS official.
No.
Translator.
Okay. Oh, so it doesn't work like
that.
And also, just to add on what Mungo was saying, when you are going to the AFCON, when you arrive, they will tell you the number of rooms you have.
Okay.
They will say 30, 23. Okay. Now, when you get there, AFCON 2015, or you remember it was supposed to be in Morocco, then pushed into Equatorial. It was a bit messy. I remember I spent 10 days sleeping on the floor on a mattress.
Wow.
Okay, because the rooms are done, but there are a specific number of rooms, and then when you arrive there, CAF will say these are the rooms we've done for you. Okay. But if you need extra, you pay on your own. CAF will not say no. The Zambian delegation has come. They are 30. They are 55. No. They will not do that. So there's a lot of order. And you see, when you look at when you're dealing with government workers know that each time they travel, there's what they call retiring of interest. You see, so in our days at FAS, we wanted to pick people who already know the procedures, who if they spend $5 or 5 CDs in Ghana, he will keep that receipt because he knows when he comes back, he needs to come and do what? To come and account for the money and how he spent it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Tembwe, two items I would like us to look at on the points that Musa has proposed. Number one, which is on this list, coming at number 7. Yes. Number 7 and 8. Number one, the FIFA ban should not be used to blackmail Zambian football at the expense of fans doing wrong things. Do you subscribe to this point?
I liked the word FIFA blackmail by Musa. I think they used the word blackmail.
Yes, yes.
You see, what has driven us to this point, where we are now scared of the FIFA acts hovering above our heads? In the first letter to Musa, from Musa, Musa had said, can we sit down and talk? Can we have peace? Now, if you check, there's never a time when you cannot have time to discuss peace. Zambian football has been at loggerheads. Okay? People talk about camps. I don't say camps. There's just the truth and lies. Okay? So Musa was saying, can we do this? Okay? Now, I'll tell you something, Joe. When I was young, I was very naughty.
Okay.
Okay? And I would start a fight with my elder brother. Okay? But I would be at a distance. And when he chases me, I would run faster and go and stand just next to my father.
Then you know you can't be touched.
And then my brother comes, he finds me seated. And then my father would say, Iwe, Nishi. And then when my father is not walking, I'll even be making a face at my brother. That is what blackmailing is. Okay? People should not rush to talk about blackmail, about the FIFA ban. By the way, Smart, whose responsibility is it to prevent FIFA from banning us? It is Football House. Football House must behave in a manner which exudes what? Transparency. A manner which makes everyone feel at home. A manner where people can sit and talk. But if you cannot talk, if you talk fast, you say FIFA, FIFA. No. It is the responsibility. First, the responsibility is at Football House. Let them create an environment where people can discuss. And if you look at the Musa letter, they also raise something very important. Musa is saying, let's be transparent. Don't just show us a letter from FIFA. No, FIFA have said this. Tell us what you told them.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Before the response from
before
FIFA
the
comes,
response.
or begin to look
if
at
you want to show us what FIFA will respond to you, first show us what you are sending to FIFA. don't just give me the response.
So Football House needs to tell us.
Football House, the way they write a letter, there's no way you can remove GRZ from the equation. They pay all A games. You know what the A games are? The senior Chipolopolo. They pay. They're giving 5,000 to every player when they win. So if you want to write about football, which you fail to pay for, to FIFA, copy the letter to the Minister of Sport. So that when they respond, we know what you're responding about. Okay?
Just a point of, just to add to what he said. The FAS has not written one letter or two.
Okay.
In the letter that FIFA replied, I think that was like 3-4 days ago, FIFA made reference to 3 letters, 22nd, 23rd, and 25th.
You get letters that were written from
yes. So how possible
from
is
FAS?
it? Yes. How possible is it that 3 letters have flown to Zurich, no one has leaked it, but the letter that comes from FIFA, it's all over on social media. What are we? What kind of people are we?
Okay.
Because we should tell them to say, we told them that Club A has done this, and FIFA has said, do this. I think that's what bears transparency.
It's like in court, Joe. People will not bring up what you call it, a witness on you. No, you as we are seated there, plaintiff versus, you know what the other has, but you need to present it.
And and let us be very fair on Musa.
Okay.
Musa wrote the first constitution in the current state. I think it's 45 days before the AGM.
Okay.
Musa wrote there were a number of things that they were itemizing. Some of the things were bordering on the constitution. Some of them, I know this case is on court, but let me just touch on one of the things.
What's in public domain?
Yes, what is in public domain. The current phase constitution talks about 13-member executive.
Okay.
It prescribes 10 of them should be from the provinces, the chairpersons, the president, the vice president, and who's the third person? The lady in charge of women's football.
Okay.
You get it?
Okay.
So the first constitution prescribes who should make up the executive. What do we have now? And even if you have to look at the audited numbers, there is a name that is appearing in the 14th one, Mr. Kefas Katongo, dollar-based lawyer. First, in the last 3-4 years, of course, it's a concept that has been hovering around us the past 10-15 years. The issue of like having a body that is in charge of the Premier League and the lower divisions.
Okay.
What did we see? First appointed Mr. Katongo to be the chairperson. Actually, they use the term interim. Then, along the way, he's been co-opted into the executive. Now, look at this. Here is a constitution that talks about a 13-man executive. The 14th person is brought in. There's been no ratification. There's been no procedure to amend the constitution.
Isn't that going against the constitution?
It is going against the constitution. You get it? Away from the constitution, that person is attending meetings, which is supposed to be a preserve of the elected people. Thirdly, that person is drawing allowances.
Okay.
You get it? Because the fact that he's now sitting as an ex-com member, then by implication, he's supposed to draw an allowance or even accommodation or transport. He cannot be coming all the way from the Copper Belt to come and attend the meeting, which, by the way, they now do monthly. Now, when Musa raises that issue, you want to frown on Musa, you want to intimidate them, you want to silence them. Is that right? Musa did the right thing. And if I allow me to, one of the authorities when it comes to things like meetings, there is what is known as Robert's Order of Meetings. He was a military guy in the US that has most of the meetings, that's the order that we follow. That's, the concept is, if somebody has an idea in a meeting, you should propose. Allow it maybe to be debated, then you vote. It could be thresholds, is it a barest, is it 50% or 2/3 majority? You get it. Okay. They'll carry the day. But now, with what Musa did, I'm talking about, okay, what I've said is the order. But in along the way, there are these issues to say, maybe some subjects need to be studied by the parties involved. That's how the proposal issue of saying right 30 days before, 45 days before came in. So imagine if it was just an ordinary meeting, you're having a meeting, and Musa says, we are proposing this or we've observed this. Do you have the right as a chairperson of the secretariat to shoot down the proposals? No. So in short, if we are to be fair to Musa or any other club, Musa made a submission. The secretariat, all they need to do is to receive it, include it, table it, maybe they have to photocopy for ease of reference. It goes to the council, they debate, and they can even propose to have 100, a weird spot like having 100 teams in the Premier League. We should not, as the secretariat should not debate it. Take it to the floor so that the clubs can say this proposal does not make sense. So because let us be very fair.
Yeah, for the proposals, what is important is, did it meet the threshold? How many days before the meeting? That is what is important.
Okay.
Yeah, but the secretariat should not start debating.
And they've written 3 letters back to Musa.
Yeah, they should not debate. Okay? They are citing provisions in the constitution that law. But, Joe, let us also look back to 2011.
Okay.
2011, we were at Mulungushi Rock of Authority. It was tense. You saw the pictures there. One man stood up and said, Mr. President, I am proposing that we ban 3 officials for life.
Wow.
These 3 officials must be banned for life here, and the whole Congress was like, yes, yes. They think they are masters of football.
Okay.
Legally speaking, that should have passed.
True.
Because the Congress, which is the highest body in football, had agreed. But at times there's, when you say forget about what's legal, and do what is right. Karusha Bwaria, the president, stood up, and for the first time at Mulungushi, I saw people speak violently against Kalu. Some people. When he stood, not if you. Kalu pleaded and said, we are not in football to ban people. Football is a game to bring people together.
Okay.
Can we forgive these people? I'm pleading on their behalf. Let's forgive these people. If they do this again, then we can ban them. Okay? For the sake of peace. Why? Carl was focused on the ball. Carl was focused. By then, the issue of winning the AFCON was already in the narrative underground. And he said, we're not going to allow little things to subtract from the bigger project of bringing the AFCON trophy to Football House. So, let's take it the Musa proposal was wrong, which of course it wasn't. Put it on the table. It's not for the Secretariat to debate those things. The Secretariat, you are like a postman. You don't start reading letters and say, and reply. No, you are not a postman. You are a postman. You pick the letter, take it. You are a messenger. Okay? In Bemba we say inkombe taika tapachinena.
Okay.
Okay? All you do if you've been sent, don't get into details. That's not for you.
Okay.
Musa proposed, let's debate that. If that letter had been there, we would not have been here on Labor Day. I would have been somewhere maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Tembwe, Mr. Lombe, 2 minutes. The issue that Musa also raised, point number 8, where they're saying the current impasse in football should not be hijacked by politicians. There have been some theories being forwarded by some sections of society saying that there is a third hand which is coming from politicians interfering in this whole impasse at FAS, or the affairs at FAS being interfered by politicians. Mr. Tembo, let me begin with you before Mr. Lombe comes in.
You know, we have to be very careful here. Somebody or some people somewhere are misleading politicians.
Okay.
Yeah. You see, a lot of people don't follow football to the
So
details.
it's not politicians interfering, but it's some people somewhere.
You see, a narrative is being created.
Okay.
That politicians are, there's an agenda by politics. No. The thing is, look, Zambians are concerned, Joe. In 2016, Zambia was featuring 4 teams every year at continental level.
4 teams?
Yes, 4 teams we are featuring. How many are remaining now? We only have 2
slots.
How do you gain 4 slots in the 2 extra slots in the continental? It is when your football is moving. Okay? George Rwandamina, who this regime discarded, was actually responsible for these positions, because Zesco United went into group stage. They were bowing out at a respectable space. CAF said, Zambia looks like something is happening. Today it's 2024. We only have 2. So what movement are we talking about when we say, no, Zambian football is getting better? It has taken us 8 years to qualify to an AFCON. So these are things that Zambians are concerned about. So if you say football is not moving, and a politician somewhere also agrees, that's not a political statement, no.
Okay.
It's me who has said it. You see, so let's be very careful not to draw politics into this. The people are saying about politics, well, maybe they know better. Maybe they've got experience in drawing politicians into football.
Okay, that's Mr. Tembo's submission. Mr. Lombe, are politicians to blame for the current happenings at FAS?
Well, I don't know, and I may not want to get into the political lane, but I think we need to address the fundamentals. We should be telling the truth. Let us embrace telling the truth.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question. I talked about 13-member executive versus what is obtaining 14. The 14th member was a creation of the people that are at Football House today.
Okay.
Now, when a person raises that, how do you bring in ANC or UNIP? Or what's the connection between ANC, UNIP, or whichever part, or ZADEC, to having a 14-man executive or 13-man? There's no connection. Let us tell the truth. And I think we'll not even discuss.
And I'll tell you, Smarter, between 2010 and 2012, there were a lot of political issues around Zambian football.
Okay.
But the first regime there said, we are not going to cow down and cry. Let's focus our eyes on the ball and take and bring the Africa Cup.
Allow me to cite an incident. In 2011, in the run-up to, is it 2011? Yeah, there was a crucial match in Mozambique.
Okay, yes.
The same people who are seeing political hands somewhere, what did they do? They connived with the government then to say, don't release the funds for the Mozambique game. We were at the verge of missing that qualifier in Mozambique. The first then, what did they do? They did not call for a press conference.
They did not blame anybody.
They did not blame anyone. Much as they knew
what
was
happening. They wrote a letter to FIFA.
No,
they didn't.
They didn't. What did they
for
do?
That game,
they went to stakeholders. They went to stakeholders and said, Bona sponsor, let's see how we can do this.
No, they said Submira. I think it was Submira. You owe us. There's this promise you've given us that will make so much money. Yeah. Or you give us so much money. But we are in a crisis. Are you able to advance it now? And that is why those who came to my office at first, there was a big dummy check for 500 million budget. Okay. That's how that money was released.
The fixture.
Okay. Instead of thinking, no, maybe government has turned their back on us. You write letters. You send people on WhatsApp to discredit minister. No. What did they do? They said, we've got corporate contacts.
Okay.
Let's go to them. Let's apply to them. I mean, ask them, guys, can you forward this? Instead of giving us in April, give it to us in February.
Okay.
They released the money. We went to Mozambique. 2-0, Mayuka scored. On Mayuka, one day we may say what happened before that game.
That's what made us go to AFCON.
That's what took us to AFCON.
We won AFCON.
Contacts.
So if you didn't have those contacts, we wouldn't even have gone to
that game. We were going to miss it.
We were going to miss it.
And we were going to be disqualified.
So not fulfilling a fixture.
So the individuals that did that knew the consequences and they were comfortable.
They knew.
There were allegations that people were talking to some people. But you see, those days we said, no, let's not worry about who's talking to, because maybe they know each other. Maybe they come from the same village. Okay. That's why they were talking. Why should we believe they were talking about football?
Okay. Yeah. So in 2 minutes, I know we're beginning to wind up, but Mr. Lombe, first financial performance summary 2021 on ticket sales. I know my producer will be displaying that on your screen. Just under 2 minutes.
In another 2 minutes, the summary is as follows. And it's on the background that the first president was on TV recently, where he talked about people who were in the executive then. The only crime that he did, that's the term he used, was that he blocked the taps, insinuating that people were getting money from the tickets or they were not accounting. But me, I never rely on my opinion. I love numbers. Let's look at the numbers.
There you have your numbers.
Yes.
There.
In 2011-2012, you've seen 1 million. In 2012, 7.7 million. That is the regime that people, or the current executive, want to paint black. Let us look at the last 5 years. 2018 to 2022.
Okay.
And the numbers are deliberate, since the 2023 numbers are yet to be passed by the council. Look at 2018, 1.4, 2.8. In 2020, we will forgive first. In all fairness, there was COVID. Only two pin was recorded. Then there is 1.4 and 2 million. Look at the summation. Okay. The summation in 5 years is 7.7. That is equivalent to what the bad fuzz, in inverted commas, posted in 2012.
In 2012.
1 year.
1 year. So how do you go on TV with a straight face insinuating that the previous regime was stealing? Look at the numbers are there. We'll forget about capacity that people had in 2011 versus the capacity by now. the number of the population has increased. We'll forget about all those variables, but they should be the last ones to talk about the numbers. But of course, there's a number there which is saying Executive and Standing Committee below. Look at how they are spending. In 2011 and 2012, despite getting money from the ticket revenue stream, look at the allowances. They got very reasonable allowances. Fast forward, 2018 to 2022, FAS has spent more money on executive and standing orders, 10.7, compared to the tickets. You get it? So in the last 5 years, all those gate takings, dear soccer fans, to put it in context, all the monies that you went and paid when watching the games from 2018 to 2022 is not enough to meet what the FAS spent on the executive and standing orders. Is that the prudent way of spending resources? I don't think so, and I believe it's not the right thing. How can you spend money on the executive and standing orders? You spend 10 million and you are failing to pay NAPSA 220. That is not correct, and we need to have very honest conversations, people.
Okay, should we go to the first summary financial year performance?
Yes, we can look at it.
Okay, dear producer, please take us to the first summary financial performance, 2011, 2012, 2016, 2023.
We are discussing audited numbers. We'll start with 2011 and 2012, purely for reference.
Okay.
And the highlights, you will realize to say, let me take you to the income statement. In 2011, there was a deficit of 264,000. 2012, it was in surplus. You get it? 3.2. Now, let us look at 2016, when the self-styled people, financial gurus, have been at the helm of FAS. You see those numbers in red. 2017, they spent, the expenditure exceeded income by 6.5. In 2018, the expenditure exceeded the income by 17 million. 2019, they spent 1.7 more than what they collected. In 2020, it's in black. At least they recorded a 500,000 surplus. In 2021, their expenditure was 14 million more than the income. 2022, it was a good year. They posted a 9 million surplus. And when you look at the summation, 2018 to 2022, the current FAS executive has spent 43 million kwacha more than they have collected. So, in the last 5 financial years audited, FAS is worse off than they found it. Let us look at the balance sheet. And my interest is I want people to compare the current assets and the payables. Payables are in Congole. Just like even at individual level, my brother Smarter, you can have on your Airtel money, you've got a 2,000 kwacha. But in Congole, if in Congole that you have, you're owing me 20,000, it means you're in a mess. So now, when we look at this picture, starting from, like, for instance, 2012, I want people to look at line number 13, the current assets. These are for instance, things like cash at bank or receivables. It was at 6.5 million. How much in Congole was there? 5.4. Meaning that the cash or the liquid cash that they had was more than in Congole. You get it, which is a good position. 2016, we had a similar case. Now, let us start with for instance, let's go to 2018 in the interest of time. The current assets in 2018 were 13.8 million. That is cash and near cash. Look at the Congole's payables, 35 million. Let's look at 2019. The current assets, 10.3, that's line 13. In Congole, line 18, 33.9 million. The picture is getting worse. Let's look at now 2022. The current assets, 25 million. In Congole, 60 million. What kind of financial management is this? You've got 25 million, and then you've got 25 million, things that you can use to liquidate cash. But you've got in Congole to the tune of 60 million. Look at the line 17. We are now in negative accumulated profit or accumulated funds. So all in all, what are the auditors saying about this? Again, it is not my opinion. When you've got Nkongole more than your assets, if I've got an asset, let me give a practical example. If I've got a house worth 200 pin, but Nkongole Nkwete, Shiripali 1 million, it means I am insolvent. So, in summary, FAZ is insolvent. If there's any other person who thinks FAZ is solvent, let them also share the audited numbers and tell us. But all you know, FAZ is insolvent. As a result, we are failing to pay NAPSA, we are failing to pay ZRA, and other statutory bodies. Then Congole keeps on swelling. So even when people come on TV and say we've improved financial statements, they are nothing but liars. The only thing is that they've got capacity to lie with a straight face. And they'll repeat the lie today and tomorrow. They'll keep on singing. That's their only ability. Because we are seeing audited numbers there.
And those are not your figures.
They are not my figures.
Audited figures from FAZ.
Audited figure by audited numbers. The numbers have been shared by FAZ to the what? To the council members over the years. The picture is very gloomy. The auditors even raised the point of going concern to say we are worried that there is negative liquidity gap, meaning that we've got more Congolese than the assets.
Okay.
You get it? So first you just do the right thing. Again, when let's imagine a politician also bumps into these numbers. You call it political. Just do the right thing. In my 24 years of working or practicing accountants, to be honest, I've never seen any set of financials that is worse than FAZ.
So
and as I speak, I'm next to the church.
Started you?
It will. I'm shocked because in my life, even when at some point in time I've done in my private capacity or along the way where you look at review financials, maybe for somebody who has applied for a loan or you are reviewing any financial, I've never seen financial statements that are as bad as this.
Okay. And you're close to a church?
And I'm close to the church, I can't lie.
Okay.
If I'm lying, my pastor should summon me. I'm at church.
You
if
are
I'm lying, the pastor should summon me straight into church and say, you need forgiveness.
Okay.
But I'm confident I'm not lying.
In conclusion, Mr. Lombe, in conclusion, before Mr. Tembwe comes in conclusion, what do you have to say concerning everything that we have discussed? The issues at FAZ, the financial report, okay, let's remove politicians in there. But overall, what's your general overview?
One, our football is not in a good space.
Okay.
The performance on the pitch is not so good. We are lucky our girls have saved us. We are lucky the girls have saved us. But if the formula that is working on the girls is correct, how have we failed to duplicate it on continental games and the Chipolopolo scene?
Okay.
And though that is the flagship, and people need to understand this thing. Chipolopolo Senior, and with due respect to women's football, Chipolopolo Senior is the flagship of our football. When you get it right on Chipolopolo Senior, you find that even more monies will triple in. One of the reasons, and I'm speculating now, one of the reasons why...
So in layman's language, the men's senior soccer team.
The men's senior, that is the mainstay.
I'll give you an example, Joe. When Chipolopolo was doing very well under Nike, when we won the AFCON, Nike brought something which was not even part of the deal. They brought uniforms for the girls. If you see the stripe that the girls were wearing at the first ever
Costa Rica,
Costa Rica, yes, and AFCON for the senior women, those came under because the flagship had brought a lot of good tidings.
So let us not pretend. We need to get it right at Chipolopolo Senior. The under 23, we get it, and when we do that, we would find that if, for instance, we've got a very successful game as for Chipolopolo Senior, the money that comes out if we've got in excess, we'll be able to fund the under 23, we'll be able to give allowances even without going to any sponsor or GRZ, we'll be able to pay under 20. That is number one. Second, the thing that I want to talk about is that the issues that we are talking about in football, it's not as a result of us failing to understand the technical issues, the legal aspect of it. People have chosen not to embrace the truth. The day we as football family will embrace the truth and practice nothing but the truth, 90% of our misunderstandings or problems will be solved in this country. Most of them, a lot of people like lying. Today they'll say this, they are consistently inconsistent. And I wish I could mention them, but I think being next to church, I may not mention their names. But I know themselves.
Besides,
They are consistently, yes, they are consistently inconsistent. Every 10 they make, they are lying. Every 10 they make, they are lying. What kind of life is that? So let us embrace the truth. When we start telling the truth, Zambian football will go forward in the right direction.
Okay. Mr. Tembwe, Mr. Lombe ends on the aspect of truth. You said you are always on the side of truth. You come from the truth camp. Your concluding remarks, sir.
In 2016, I made a decision to quit the Football Association of Zambia. I was not fired. Very few people wanted to know I had left. The few that came, I told them that ahead of us, we shall have problems. And I don't want to be part of that. In our football today, I'll just echo what Mumba said. Let's be honest. Okay, football is not a secret. Football, you can explain and explain. But my brother, when you are not scoring, when you are not going to AFCON, there's nothing. Okay? Yes, today people, no, but at least the women. The women, can I talk about the women?
Please.
The women, the people today who are jumping to the toppest to the top of the highest mountains, claiming football for women, were not even supportive when we started training ladies as coaches in preparation for the ladies. Okay? Costa Rica, they went in 2014. You've seen them. Hazel, she was there. Grace, Barbara, I think the left back, Belem, Helen, they were there. The foundation was laid. But because, you see, this regime came and they thought women football, there's nothing. So they didn't bother so much to take the usual politics.
Okay.
Okay? And because they did not distill what we left, Zambia, the football for women is thriving. Okay, I'll tell you an example. When we left FAS, great Carl told me, "Nkweto, ababa isaba, ngataba fifulungani. We will go to 2017 AFCON.
Okay.
But if they touch what we have left, we will not go in a long time. Okay. So the women football has been, the current regime has been like an opportunist, where you see they throw in water, then you start swimming and you say, I'm a good swimmer. Okay. They have not touched it, and that is why it has done. Where they've tried to use their knowledge, there's been a disaster. Okay. They came in by accusing players that they were being paid. They came in and said these players are pompous, the 2012. They came in they are not loyal. They came in and told us we failed to go to the first AFCON under them because the goalkeeper for Guinea-Bissau was from Senegal. But finally, the truth catches up. We just have to be honest with the players. Footballers are not ichitumbua, which you can do in 10 minutes. They need to be created. Kalaba was taken to AFCON for the first time in 2008, I think. Okay. And Kalu told him, Renfo, where I'm taking you, don't even think you may play. But I want you to know what it means.
The exposure?
To sit at the Africa Cup, just to know how it is. So the victories in football cannot be acquired by emotion, cannot be acquired by good English. No, they can only be acquired when you have the right people who know what to do at the right time and who know how to pick coaches. Okay? The man, up to today, the man who came and took us to the AFCON victory, people said he's a PE teacher. No, he's a friend to Chakuti. No, he's a lucky man. But can't this regime also start looking for lucky coaches? Why can't they start looking for lucky coaches? By the way,
or PE teachers.
Yeah, or PE teachers. Let them look for PE teachers who can take us to AFCON. Joe, the PE teacher, has won 2 AFCONs in less than 10 years. The PE teacher, the friend to somebody who he picked at a hotel, has gone to the World Cup. consistently
Twice.
3 times, twice, with Morocco and with Saudi Arabia. Okay? So we just have to be honest to say, Joe Simata is a good interviewer. Let him continue. You see? But when you go, when you take over the reins of football, and your focus is to outdo the previous ones, this is what happens. This is what happens. You start redefining benchmarks. No, football success should not only be measured by the national team. Come on. If it can also be measured by other teams, how many people, we won the 2017 under 20, how many sponsors have come on to say they'll focus on under 17? Our beautiful girls, okay, very great footballers. I'm so proud of them. They've gone to the World Cup. They've gone to the Olympics. They are going back to the Olympics. People are not coming on because the flagship is not doing well, which is Chipolo Polo. Let us be honest. Let us be open. And let us pay attention. Let us remove our judgment. Suspend your judgment and read the Musa letters. The Musa letters are talking about peace. And if you cannot discuss peace, then you don't belong to Zambian football. That is why, after every crucial game, especially at AFCON, you can actually be sanctioned for refusing to shake hands after the game. Because football is about peace and not killing each other, doing whatever. Let us embrace peace and put back Zambian football on the rails. We are too big to be competing with certain countries to be at the Africa Cup. Okay? Look, Joe, 1974, Zambia managed to be among the top 8. They were qualified to the Africa Cup. Consequently, it was 8. We went to 12. Zambia was qualifying. We went to 16. Zambia qualified. One of the qualifications even yielded a trophy. When they increased to 24 teams, we've struggled twice.
That's half of Africa.
Half of Africa. 48% of Africa now can be at the Africa Cup. And we're busy, you know, COSAFA is also okay. No, gentlemen. COSAFA cannot be AFCON. No wonder it's always in South Africa. Okay. So let us just be real and stop this narrative of there's no talent. There's enough talent in Zambian football if you've got eyes to see. And we can get back the glory of Zambian football by embracing the truth and honesty.
Okay. Mr. Tembwe there ends on truth and honesty. Mr. Tembwe, let me thank you more sincerely. Mr. Lombe as well. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming through and sharing your thoughts on the beautiful game, football. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Smata. Nitume Zahulu.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
We cannot pretend that we want to come back again. We want to do a hat trick on the conversation. Yeah, because definitely there are a lot of things. We've tried to be very brief here, and in future we would want to really come and share a lot of things and why our football is stagnant and why certain people think it's moving. You know, when you are young and you get into a car, trees move.
Yes.
And
Mr. Thank you so much. Mr. Lombe, yes, we need to go.
Yeah, it was good to make an appearance here.
Okay.
And I think in future, and hopefully in the near future, I would want to share this platform with my very good Mboya, who's the General Secretary at FAS.
Okay.
Why am I interested in him, sharing with him? He's also a chartered accountant like me. It would be very good for us to discuss these numbers.
The figures.
The figures.
Is that a challenge?
Well, not a challenge. It's a very honest appeal. I would want to share a platform with Mr. Kamanga.
Okay.
And Mr. Kamanga. Yes, it would be very good for us to discuss the numbers.
The 2Ks at once.
The 2Ks at once.
I would really want to discuss the numbers. I'm very passionate about numbers. Because, like for instance, both have insinuated at many forums to say now things are good. We've brought financial stability. We've brought this and this. So that it's in that spirit that I'm saying. If they've been willing to discuss, to issue such statements, then I'm challenging them. That let's come and have a debate where we don't come with anything but FAS audited numbers in front of us, and we discuss year by year.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, hopefully we'll be able to reach out to the 2Ks at FAS, but thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming through. And thank you, the viewer, the major stakeholder. On Labor Day, 1st May 2024, we do appreciate you. And of course, the entire production team, including my director, Mr. Isaac Chifita. And on behalf of my 2 guests, I have been your host, Joe Smarter is my name. We'll see you when you see us. Good afternoon and God bless.